Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, we are here in Detroit, Michigan. Today, we're talking about how we can benefit from UWM, talking about our economy. This is our news channel. I am here in Detroit. I'm going to be bringing in some people, one of the account reps from UWM to talk about them. But first, we want to get into it. We want to talk about what's going on in our news. Before, let's lay some groundwork. This is a new news channels news that you can use. We're going to be talking about information that's prevalent and relevant to you. We're going to talk about what's going on in our economy. It's been a great demand from me. I thank you for your support. A lot of people have been asking, can you talk to us about what's going on in our economy? They talk to us what is going on in reference to what we can do to create generational wealth. They've been talking to us about exactly what we can do to help out in this economy that we're living in and breaking it down. So, without any further ado, I want you to subscribe on YouTube. We're on all the major social platforms. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Go to our YouTube channel, like us, subscribe us. We're going to monitor how this channel goes. And so as we start to get participation and we start to get people that want to be engaged in that process, then we will be able to keep this channel going. If you would like to advertise on this show, we got a marketing team that will be able to do that. We have a great person here today. He's here at UWM. And if you notice anything in the news, they have been standing out about what is going on in our market, what is going on in our economy. Should you buy a house? Should you rent? Is the interest rates going up? What's going on with the FHA? Is Trump going to shut the whole thing down? We are going to hear from one of the top account reps here at UWM. Without any further ado, come on in. That's it. He's going to grab a seat. We got some quick questions. I know we're here doing some investment things. We're talking about exactly what he's getting ready. We're going to talk about exactly what can we do, and we're going to ask him some of the hard questions that a lot of people have asked. Exactly, what is this economy doing? Without any further ado, hey, how you doing today? Hey, Ken, I want you to introduce yourself and everything so that our listeners and everybody can see.
My name is Michael. Number one in America, for 6+ years.
6 plus years. So he was around when it first got started. But I know we're here. We're celebrating. I'm here with UWM. I wanted to make sure that we got some information that you guys can use. So tell me, have you seen a slowdown in the buying and purchasing of homes? Because everybody is saying we're ready to go into a recession and the dark days are coming. Have we really seen that on a global scale or a national scale?
So, no, what I would say is this fast. We haven't seen them. Now, when I tell everybody, you can't control the rates, whether they go up or down. Try and predict it. You're probably gonna be wrong. So if you have the money to buy a house, you get your down payment, you get your payment, then buy the house you want. You don't want to lose out on a house you really want, because you miss out on things like equity. So if you wait like 6 months from now to go down, and even if they do go down, you just missed out on 6 months of equity building on the house. So you all know that equity goes pretty quickly now with housing prices gone up every year. So you may see a little bit on the rate, you missed out on all that equity.
Okay. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing it straight from the horse's mouth. They're saying, hey, it doesn't matter what the rate is doing. And this is in our economy. So the people are saying that there's a recession. That's to make you get tight. You still got to have a place to live. Okay. So what are some of the qualifications of that the mortgage industry has kind of loosened up on the credit score, down payment assistance? What exactly is going on in that area?
Well, I mean, every lender is a little different. I like to speak to what they're done. So, like, government loans, the LPAs. Like, if you're a credit score 600 and higher, you're no longer looking at price adjustments or having a lower FICO or LTV. So, there's a lot of great, first-time home buyer credits you can get. If you're a first-time home buyer and you're only making like you make the average median income of the county you live in, and a lot of those counties, the average median income is like over 100,000. So you may not think you qualify for something like that, but you really do. So talk to your local mortgage broker like Cicada.
Okay.
He can help you, navigate that system. There's a lot of great programs out there.
Okay. So have you guys seen a shift in home buying, or has it went down since we got the new president?
No, it hasn't. Actually, we had one of the best months we've had in 2 years since rates started going up. So again, it's about you as the borrower not worrying about what you can't control, like I said in the beginning. The rates are the rates. So as long as you have your down payment, you couple with your down payment, you're coupled with the payment of the house for right now, you can always refi out of it if the rates go down. So again, if you like a house, get on it now, because if rates go down in 6 months, let's say, or even a year from now, just think, you're going to be bidding against twice as many people than now. So, and the house is going to be a lot more. So now makes sense to buy the house if you have all your stuff in place. If you're going to buy it now, then don't worry about the rate. Just buy it.
Okay. So here we are. Thank you for coming in and speaking with us. Okay, and like I said, you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. I didn't suggest it. He came here. I wanted to show everybody what I see every day. When you're trying to buy a house or you're trying to get out of the rat race that you're in, because one thing for sure, you gotta have a roof over your head. So why not own when you don't have to rent? Why own? Why not own when you can rent? So so if you're renting, you want to get out of the rat race of renting, you want to put some equity, create generational wealth, we're here to help you. Once again, thank you for coming out. Thank you for being a part.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing more great things from UWM. So we're going to move forward to talking about what's going on with Harvard University. Harvard University has sued the United States government. So what has happened there? So as we begin to see what's going on, I'm going to show you my screen, and we're going to talk about exactly what Harvard University is doing. So with that being said, let me see here. Share screen. We're going to show what Harvard University is saying in reference to Trump. So one of the things that stood out to me was that they have received $2.2 billion, $2.2 billion in reference to grants that was given to them by the government. So one of the things that kind of stuck out to me, as you can see, you can go to the Wall Street Journal or AP, American Press, and you see that they gave $2.2 million, right? So as we begin to talk about this, let's talk about exactly what that means. Okay, so we have a university here in we have a university here in Indianapolis that's called Martin University. So when we're talking about universities being able to compete on a national scale or on a local scale, we see here that there's a great disadvantage. So when we see these community college or African American colleges that do not produce or do not have the funding or do not have the prestige that other colleges have, we see now why there is such a difference. There is a difference in the amount of money that the government gives these institutions. So Harvard, we already know that Harvard has a great endowment. They don't need the $2.2 million, but they get it every year, which gives them a competitive advantage when it comes to education, when it comes to, well, we know that the education is dictated by who's teaching at that particular college. So if you have a university or a school, Martin University or a historically black school, that only gets, say, $1 million, $1 million, and you have a school that don't need it, gets $2.2 billion. So we see the difference in the ability to educate, attract talent, to build up the school, grants, and all of those other things. So they're beginning to fight because Trump has said we're going to we're going to cut off those funding. So we already know how grants go. You get a 501c3, and then your 501c3 has to actually be be ran by the government. So it's not your money, it's the government's money. So the government says, hey, I want you to do this service. We're going to keep funding you. You're going to keep a non-for-profit flagship. And so you got to kind of do what the government wants you to do. Well, guess what happened? They don't want to do what the government wants them to do, and they want to keep their grant count. So that goes right against what we see of having a 501c3 is. So if you don't want to do what the government wants you to do, then that's fine. That's your prerogative. But you should not get government funding because you're up under the flagship of a 501c3. So this is kind of what you and I need to understand, why our community colleges is not as relevant or as successful as some of these prestigious institutions. And we already know, if you are fighting against somebody and you're in competition with the Harvards and the Notre Dames of the world that's getting these great billion-dollar grants, so now we see why we're at such a disadvantage. And so, if you have any comments, make sure that you come in and you can leave a comment or anything of that nature. Let's talk about some of the other things that's going on in our community. We're talking about, they just banned some things that is on the Food and Drug Administration, just banned 5 dyes that goes into our food. Okay, 5 dyes that goes into our food, they just banned. Okay, and what does that mean? That means that in other countries they don't even allow this to come in, but they're saying that now, because of the Trump administration drawing an eye to this, then guess what has happened? They're saying that, hey, we are not going to allow this particular drug. Is F40 red. And so if you got red dyes and stuff that's in your food, guess what's going to happen? They're no longer going to be acceptable in the United States of America. Okay. Getting back to the education, one more thing. If you have not realized, they just, the Biden administration was trying to pass a law that was allowing student loans to be forgiven, right? So on this particular podcast, we want to make sure that we're telling the truth about everything. We want to shed light on everything. So what has happened is the Biden administration said, hey, we want to forgive student loans, right? Well, guess what happened? The Trump administration just said that that's not constitutional. They're saying that if the government pays the bill, if you made a bill, it's not going to just go away. So the government will have to take care of it. So once again, the Biden administration was trying to pass a bill to allow student loans to be forgiven. Their Trump administration is passing a law saying, hey, that's not going to happen. Okay. So we're talking about the education piece. We're talking about the food and drug piece. Let's talk about talk about some of the things that our government is saying what we should do. Okay. So what does the tariffs mean? So what does the tariffs mean? We already know that the tariffs are coming. They're here. Trump has put them in place. He took them back a little bit. What does that mean? That means that these tariffs, that when another country sells goods to the United States, right? We're going to charge them to sell goods, to produce goods. And the backdrop of it is for them to the United States, to be able to sell goods and services in their country. So it's supposed to be an even trade. So that kind of makes sense. If you come to my house and then I charge you a certain amount, then you charge me a higher amount when I come to your house, so I'm going to raise my prices. So what does that mean? So for years, the United States had an unbalanced a trade agreement with some of these other countries, and we've been foot the bill. Well, that's been going on for years, and so it just didn't start here. But why is that such an issue now? Okay, the reason why it's an issue now is because the world, the economies are starting to reflect what is the most important thing. We're beginning to compete. At one time, the United States didn't have to compete. We was the top of the line. Now we have to compete. Everything is not as easy. So now they're saying that, hey, we gotta make the playing field even. So that's a good thing for the American people. So I know in business, a lot of times when you go to another country, their way of doing business is totally different than the way you're doing business. We live in a capitalist society. So that means that we have, when we produce, just say, for instance, cars here in the United States, we got to go through all the regulations. And our government really helped out the car industry when we went through COVID and we went through all of those things, right? But when we went overseas, right, they're ran by their government. So there is a different way of doing business. So this is why the laws at other countries, as far as unions, as far as making sure that quality and control is there, making sure that the goods and services are not harmful, they don't monitor it as well as the United States do. So when you're talking about tariffs, that's really what we're talking about. And so because of that, they're saying that we're going into a recession. So when they say that we're going into a recession, what does that mean? Okay, what does that really mean? So I don't want you to be scared when people start saying recession. A recession is when the GDP is negative for two consecutive quarters. Okay, so what does that mean? Is that when Trump placed these tariffs in, people quit buying because the tariffs had to kick in, and then it has an effect on the economy, and then the economy has a way to respond. If you are working and you have a 401k, your 401k is taking a tank because it's based on the stock market. So when the stock market went down, that means your 401k went down. So that means that you don't have access to the capital and the funds that you once had. So you got to be careful when we're talking about going into a recession. We had somebody here from UWM earlier said, hey, now is the time to buy the house. You still got to keep a roof over your head. It's always better to buy than it is to rent, because when you're buying in a house, you're betting on yourself. You're creating generational wealth for you and your family. Now, I understand that everybody is not going to be able to buy, but guess what? The lending has opened up so that you can get into generational wealth. So don't be scared because we think we're going to go into a recession. Don't be scared because gas prices might be going up a little bit, food prices might be going up a little bit. It's still going to affect you in a way that's going to cause you to make a decision about how you want to handle your economy. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is what should we do to bet on ourselves, okay? So what should we do? Because we don't want to be a news station that just talk about the problems. What should we do to bet on ourselves? The first thing we should do is get our credit straight, okay? That's the first thing we should do, is get our credit straight. When you get your credit straight, then what that does, it gives you the ability to have access to resources. Your kids can go to a better school because you stay in a better neighborhood. Your food that you buy in your neighborhood is a lot better because your credit can afford some things that you might not have been able to get in contact with. Second thing you want to do, I'm giving you some tools that you can use to help you get out of the rat race that you're in. Start a business. I don't care if it's doing lemonade. Start a business, bet on yourself, create a product so you can become a producer and not a consumer. Okay? It's important that you understand that you have to create something. So if that job lays you off, you can fall back on something. We used to teach that at one time, when I was a kid, if you got a high school diploma for my parents, then you was considered that was your safety net. Then it was said that if you went to college and got a degree, that was your safety net. Now I'm telling you that you have to get those things if it's important, but you also got to take it a step further. You have to get something that you are in control of, that you're producing on your own. You got to get a business. Start a business. Okay. If you need help doing those things, there's all type of resources out here for you. The government has said go buy a home, start a business. What does that mean? Why did they say that? Why are they telling you to start a business? Because when you can go in and start a business, guess what that does? That gives you access to banking. And when you get access to banking, that's a whole nother topic within itself. But when you get access to banking, then you are a player and you can control your own destiny. You're not depending on somebody else to feed you. You can live on your own. Okay. The third thing you need to do, okay, is work with the bank to establish business credit. You know, our president, he filed bankruptcy a many a times. It's public record, but he filed bankruptcy on his business. He didn't file bankruptcy on him. He filed bankruptcy on his business, right? And so when you file bankruptcy on your business, that means you get a clean slate. And a lot of times it doesn't even affect your credit. So we need to start to set up business credit so that you can be able to establish yourself and be able to fund things without using your personal credit. Then the third thing, okay, the third thing, start working with the banker to establish business credit. There's all type of tools, all type of grants, all type of things that you can do that where you can establish business credit and you can be able to do what you need to do in order to get on a platform to create generational wealth. As like I said, ladies and gentlemen, the cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose, the levee is giving way. It's up to you to save you. So without you betting on yourself, it's really hard for you to be acceptable in this society, in this economy. So with getting ready to close up, as we begin to move forward, these type of tools, starting your business, generating business credit, understanding what our economy is doing, understanding that a tariff is not going to kill us, right? Understanding that those are tools that high-end people are fighting among themselves. Okay, countries are battling among themselves, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. But it will get better if we do the things that they're telling us to do. And what are they telling us? Start a business, get involved in home ownership. Also, watch the education system. Speak out against the education system when it doesn't affect, when it doesn't benefit you. A lot of people have criticized Trump for what he has done, and a lot of people have supported him. But when you're dealing with a 501c3 or you're dealing with government monies, the government is in control of where their money goes, right? I want to be clear. It's not Harvard's money. It is the government's money. It's me and your taxpayer dollars that's funding Harvard University. And we all know we live in a capitalist society. So that money should be spread out among other colleges, other institutions to give us the same playing field that everybody else has. And I believe that if we start to spread that money out among some of the HBCUs, some of the community colleges, and some of the other private colleges that can use those funds also, I think that we would have a better opportunity because the universities will start to compete. And we all know competition breeds about an opportunity of leadership, and we'll get the best product possible. I want to keep giving you the news that you can use. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, tell somebody else about the news channel. It's only going to get better. This was our first one. Next week, I promise you, I'm going to have a guest on there that's going to be talking about the economy that everybody's going to be wanting to hear from. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out and supporting. This is the first one. I'm here in Detroit. I am getting information that's going to help us in the mortgage industry and in the finance industry and in the interest rates. Next, in a couple of weeks, they're going to be in New York and they're going to be ringing the bell. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's up to you. You have to make the choices to be able to help yourself. Okay, you have to make the choices to be able to make decisions that's educated for you and your family. Don't take nobody's word for it. Work on your own credit. Establish a business. Go out and go to your local bank and ask them what is your requirements in order to secure a loan, and then go back and do it. Okay, we're in the do it stage. It's time for us to get up and do it. Get up and do something, and don't just sit around and talk about what we're not doing. Let's talk about what we can do. And that's why this show has came up. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. I'm going to be putting some nuggets in there that was not on the class. I'm going to be putting some notes in there that was not in the class. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, tell somebody about our Facebook channel, subscribe. Come on next week with some questions, and so we can have a dialogue about what we need to do and what our economy is doing, what our education system is doing, and different topics that's important to us. The Food and Drug Administration just passed a law. They're going to be banning some foods. If your kids are eating Fruit Loops and those type of cereals that have those type of dyes in them, they're going to be banned, but you need to look at other things that needed to be banned. They said that this thing messes with your mind. They said it causes you to have high blood pressure, diabetes. A lot of our kids are fat and overweight, not criticizing them, but we want to take control of our community and take control of our health. And we all know that if we have a healthy community, then we can make healthy decisions. And we all know that COVID affected us more than any other ethnic group it was. So we want to take control of our community. We want to have news in our community that is going to help us. Next week, we're going to have another show. I'm going to do this for the next 6 weeks. We're going to see how it goes. We want to get up to 1,000, well, 400 to 500 viewers at one time. And if you have anything, you can drop it in the text on my YouTube page, or you can drop it in a text on our Facebook Live page, Cepeda Jackson on the Facebook page. Let me know if you have any topics that you want to cover. I'll be more than glad to talk about the issues that's going on in our community. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for supporting. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come into your home today and speak to you. Once again, I'm here in Detroit. I wanted to go to the biggest wholesale lender and ask those questions that I did at the beginning of the show to let you know what everybody else is doing. Don't be fooled. Don't be tricked. Don't let them sell you no wooden nipples. Make sure that you are listening to what is going on. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. Don't fall asleep. Till next week, keep betting on yourself. And remember, the cavalry ain't coming. The creek is rose, the levee is giving way. It's up to you to save you. Keep betting on yourself. Thank you.